Evening, everybody, and welcome to the edition today. I think many of you will be wondering, because we normally have the right to know, but today we have something different. Today we have another project that we have for you, which is called Get Out of Your Box. The project is called Get Out of Your Box because it enables you to get out of your comfort zone, to start doing things that you are afraid of doing. So today we're going to have something different. First of all, I think many of you have received this form, or many of you haven't received it. Many of you may have received this letter, or maybe some of you haven't received it yet. So today we're going to talk about census. What is census? Why do we have to do it? Why do they want to know everything about us? Why do they want to know numbers of people that live in the street? I am not capable of answering all these questions myself. So today I'm going to have Sarah Beedle with me. Sarah Beedle is going to help us understand more about census. Donc pour nous les Congolais, c'est que je peux dire que Sarah Beedle est venue ce soir pour juste nous aider et comment vraiment remplir le formulaire. Et puis, si on a des questions à poser Sarah, on peut poser Sarah des questions. Si on veut savoir c'est quoi le census, c'est quoi le recensement, I think we need to find out more. Hi, Sarah. How are you, my darling?
I'm good, Tara, and you?
Not too bad, not too bad. So, Sarah, I'm really going to let you just actually explain to us, first of all, because I got mine. I received mine. So I just need to know more about it. What is Census 2021?
Okay. I also received mine today. So Census 2021 is the census. It is the questions that the Office for National Statistics asks the nation, all of England and all of Wales, every 10 years. The last census was therefore 2011. So this one is on the 21st of March this year. The reason we take a census is so that we can understand who lives, how many people are living in a particular area, and therefore how many services are required in that area, whether it's education, health, doctors, surgeries, bus routes, bike plans, anything that requires funding, or charities will use this information. But it is otherwise, it is information that is kept utterly secret, which it sounds silly. The absolute data is given out to people who ask, but the data that relates to an individual is always hidden for 100 years. The information that is taken is never passed to immigration. It's not passed to the police, employment people, or anything like that. The information is kept completely secure and isn't released. And the individual person information isn't released for 100 years. The information about groups of people who live in areas, that is the information. The number crunching is the information that is used, and it will be kept. It will be released next year for use by the council and the charities and the government.
Is it really a must for everybody to fill the form?
It is. It was made law in 1921 for people to complete the census. There was an Act of Parliament which went through. This means that every household in England and Wales is obliged to complete the census. You can complete it early, you can complete it on the day, you can complete it late. If you are late, you will get people knocking on your door reminding you to complete the census. Ultimately, if you don't complete the census full stop, you are at risk of receiving a court summons and then a £1,000 fine. However, there's no need to worry about that if you just complete the census.
So if I don't fill in the form by the time given or before the 21st of March, I'm going to have people knocking on my door. So basically forcing me to fill it.
They won't force you. They will ask you politely.
Okay.
But yes, it is law. Every single household in England and Wales needs to complete it. Scotland is doing their census next year. They delayed it because of the pandemic, but England and Wales decided that the wheels were in motion already. Everything was working. So the census could be taken on the 21st of March this year.
I hear you mention that anybody that do not fill it, they could be fined.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's £1,000 for those that doesn't fill in the forms.
Yes. What else do you need to know about that?
So once again, I'm just trying to understand, because since I've been in the UK, I've never done anything like this.
How long have you been here?
Over 40 years.
Who heck? I don't know that.
So basically, to me, it's a shock. It's like I've never heard anything, because you mentioned that it's something that is done every 10 years.
Yeah.
But I've never done something like this before.
Have you been a head of a household?
For the last 20 years, yes.
Gosh, then you got lucky. The forms are delivered to every household. You've received your letter. I've no idea what happened in 2011 for you then. Well done for escaping. But please do complete it this time.
So is there anything else that you could tell us more for the forms to enable the community, the African community, to know more about it, to really understand? Is it to find out, as you mentioned before, to enable people to know the service, to know what kind of service to provide in the particular areas? Is that really what it's all about?
That is really what it's all about. Yes, there's 50 questions-ish. And I can share my screen and I can show you the 50 questions that are likely to be asked.
Please,
yes, yes, and we can just talk it through.
Yeah.
Give me 1 minute. No just getting there. Can you see that? Okay, so that's the home screen. When you arrive at the census website, that is the screen you'll see. Okay, and with the letter that you received, some people will automatically get a paper questionnaire and some people will automatically get a digital questionnaire. The digital one is the one that you have received, which has got the 16-digit code. And when you're on the home screen, when you click on Start Census, that is where you type in your 16-digit code. The paper questionnaire, you will see all of these questions, but they're just down in print, and you don't need to worry about a computer. So once you've typed in your 16-digit code, it will then ask, is the address that it brings up your address? And you have the opportunity to say yes or no. I'm in the process of giving you a demonstration. So we just use the address 123 Demonstration Drive. That is a completely made up address. Okay, so once your address is correct, you move to the next screen and it tells you about the coronavirus. So it tells you how to keep the information going for what is happening with you at this present moment. Okay. The next thing you will be asked is how many people are living in your household. This can be any number, but it means every man, every woman, and every child. There is an option if you have visitors staying overnight, which is still possible with bubbles at the moment. But this is asking how many people are actually living in your household. You can potentially have more than one household living in a residence. But ideally, you fill it out just for your household. And as it says, it's for people living at the same address who share cooking facilities, a living room, or a dining area. If there are people who share more than that, they are part of that household. Okay, so the next question you will be asked is, do you normally live at that address? Generally, the answer will be yes. And then they will ask, what is your name? And this time they will actually ask for all of your names. So whether you have middle names, some people have got more than one middle name. I've only got one, but my lodger's got 3. So I'll have to put down all 3 of her middle names. Then you are asked if other people live at that address. And if that's the case, I have a lodger, I can tick the box for my lodger. If you have family, I can tick a box for my son. He's away at university, but he still gets included on this form. Okay. The next question you're asked, if you have said there are other people who live in your house, it just asks you to name them. And again, you need to put first name, all the middle names, and the last name. And these will start being listed as they appear here. If you can see that, okay? Right. The next page, if you're doing it on the computer, it will clarify how many other people are living in the house. That will list the people you've added, and it gives you the opportunity to make an alteration if you need. As it says, include people who work away from home within the UK if this is their family house. Include members of the armed forces if this is their family house. Include people who are outside the UK for less than 12 months. Include people who are staying in a hospital, care home, or hostel for less than 6 months, as long as this is your family home. And then any other people who usually live with you but are temporarily away. This is now the opportunity. The next question is about visitors. With bubbles, this makes life slightly easier. You only list a little bit of information about the visitors because they will complete the census in their own house.
Yeah.
So there's a chance that boyfriends and girlfriends could be staying overnight. I'm tempted to say something but I'm not allowed to about COVID.
Okay.
As long as you are maintaining COVID regulations, do as you will. But list. So if people are away on holiday, which is unlikely, you list them as well. Okay. So the next question, the next page will list who is in the household and how many visitors. That's easy. The census moves on to correlating people within the house. So whether you are father and son, father and daughter, lodgers, cohabiting, that's where we ask these questions. So as you are the head of the household completing this document, it will ask who the first person on that list is and how they relate to you. Whether they're your husband, wife, partner, civil partner, child, stepchild, brother, sister, sibling, stepsisters, or your parents.
Okay.
Okay. And then it will ask you to move to another section. Okay. The census asks a lot of questions about your house, the actual physical building. It will ask you what kind of property you have, whether it's rented, and the type of heating. That's a very antiquated question, but it's one that's been on the census for years. So the first question is, what type of accommodation is the building? Is it a house, a bungalow? Is it a flat? Or is it a caravan or a temporary structure? Hopefully you all live in houses or flats, but the other ones are available. Okay. Then it will ask where the house is. If it's a house, you won't get asked this question. If it's a flat, you will get asked the question. And they will say, what kind of flat is it? Is it part of a block of flats?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a shared house? Is it a converted building, etc.? It then moves on to ask whether the rooms are just for your use or whether they are shared use. As it says, does it include the kitchen, bathroom, and toilet behind a door that only this household can use? That is how you denote, that's how you tell whether your house is a household. It will then ask how many bedrooms you have. Not all of the rooms in the house, just the number of bedrooms.
Okay.
And then the type of central heating. So whether you have gas, electric, oil. Okay. So the next one is, who owns your property? Do you own it? Do you have a mortgage? Do you rent? Are you lucky to live rent-free? And then it will, if you rent, it will ask who is the landlord. None of this information gets shared out with anybody. It is, these are all, because these are quite personal questions.
Very personal, yeah.
They are personal questions, and this is recognized. This is why the ONS is really, really careful to say that the information that you give is locked away for 100 years. So once it says, do you own your house or do you rent? It then asks who you rent from. So it will be a housing association, the council, a landlord, employer of a household member. That's weird. Relative of a household member, or another person. Okay. Once you've answered about your house, it will ask about cars and vans in the house. And it asks you to list all the cars that park on your drive or on the street outside that anybody within the household can drive. That's not too personal a question, hopefully.
No.
And
that's quite okay. It can be answered.
Yes, indeed. And then you can move on to the next bit of the census. So again, there's another thing. Right, it asks the same questions about the second person who lives in the house. And it could also ask these of you. So are you Joe Bloggs, the person who is filling out the form? And then you can say yes or no. And they will ask what is your date of birth. And just to check that you've put in the right date of birth, they'll go, you are, in this instance, 101. Just to check that you're correct. It's not like mother saying, 3. Do you not know the answer to this question? It's just to check that you've put in the correct date of birth.
Date of birth, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The next question will ask whether you're male or female. This is a simple, straight question about whether you are male or female. There is an optional question later about gender identity. Okay, so first of all, it will ask whether you're male or female, and then it will ask your marital status. So whether you're married, whether you're single, whether you're registered partnership, whether you're separated but still legally married, separated, individual partnership, divorce, etc., etc. It's virtually every single option is there. So if you are married, it will ask whether you're married to somebody of the opposite sex or somebody of the same sex, because both are legal in the UK.
Yeah.
Once you've crossed that hurdle, it will then ask whether you stay anywhere else for more than 30 days in a year. This is possible if divorced parents share their children, for example, or my son's at university. This is where I would list that he lives elsewhere for more than 30 days. Then it will ask if you are in education and if it's full-time. Before it moves on to asking about when you were born. not everybody in the UK was born in the UK. So in this circumstance, you might click elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And on the next page, you get the option to, it looks like it's missing. On the next page, you get the option to type in the country where you were born. It's one of those tick box sort of things that the internet does. So if you start typing Uruguay, for example,
Okay.
then you typed you are whatever's next. It will self-populate in the box and you'll be able to select them. So if you're born in America, you just type in United States and you'll be able to select that as an option. The following question then says, 1 year ago, what was your address? So 1 year ago, we weren't in lockdown. Yes, lockdown. Maybe the first lockdown.
Well, I think it was the second lockdown, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a case of it asks what your address was then, before it moves on to your national identity. Now this is something that you self-identify as. It's I'm English born and bred. To me, I'm English. Tempted to put European, but I'm English.
Okay.
So this is where you can say whether you feel at home in the UK or whether you feel at home elsewhere.
Oh.
If you feel at home elsewhere, you click on it.
Okay.
And if you love a man in a kilt, you click on the Scottish. Right. So when it's if you did select other as your national identity, you have a box where you can type in suggestions. So as in the previous question where you had the option, excuse me, sorry, you can start typing in the box and you can say, this is what my national identity. The following question will then ask your ethnic group. The usual, when you're applying for jobs and things, this sort of thing comes up. Whether you're white, mixed or multiple ethnic groups, Asian, Black, British, Caribbean or African, other ethnic group. I'm white. I'm afraid this is why it's come up with this option.
Okay.
It will then break down. If whichever you've selected, it will break down other options. And then it will ask you a voluntary question. So the next question you can skip if you wish, or you can answer it if you wish. You can say, what is your religion? There was a huge campaign in 2001 for people to state that they were Jedi. There were less Jedis in 2000, but you can state what your religion is on that part of the form. And then they will ask you your language, which is basically, what do you speak in at home? You may speak French more comfortably than you speak English. If that's the case, add that in as an option. Again, another quite personal question is the passport that you hold. Do you have one? Do you have two? I discovered a few weeks ago-ish that people in the UK can have more than one passport, more than one UK passport, which surprised me. But that's an irrelevance.
That's first I've heard of it. As you say, it's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant at this point.
At this point, yes.
Right. Then it goes on to ask about your health. We're almost through. We're about 2/3 of the way through now.
That's okay.
So you can scale your health. This again is, I was talking to a group of people who had MS this afternoon. So you can assess whether you're in good health or bad health. And then it will ask whether you have any illnesses or mental health conditions that are expected to last 12 months or more. The MS people were saying MS is a disease, but that would still include that information. The following question is whether you're an unpaid carer. This, many people all over the world are unpaid carers. I am no more. And this is where you can work out how many hours a week you give to being an unpaid carer. I think Carers UK are looking for this question quite a lot. I've seen it advertised on my internet. Really weird. Okay. Now the next two questions are voluntary. I need to take a drink. 1 minute.
No problem.
Okay. These questions are in the news a lot at the moment. And again, they're incredibly personal. So you can choose whether you answer them or not. They will ask you what your sexual orientation is, whether that is straight, gay, bisexual, or anything else. Again, you can type in whatever words you choose at that point. Is the gender you identify with the same as the sex registered at birth? Again, that question is voluntary. It is your choice whether you answer it. Once they ask really personal questions, they move on to qualifications. First question is about apprenticeships. Have you ever been an apprentice? Then you're asked, do you have a degree? Do you have NVQs or equivalents? Do you have A-levels? So these seem to be going down in scale of education. Do you have GCSEs or equivalents? So a GCSE or an O-level, depending on your age. I've got O-levels as well as GCSEs. I was lucky. So once they've dealt with education, they ask whether you have ever served in the armed forces in the UK. There are some people who did national service, and the answer to that is still yes.
Okay.
There are some people who are unsure, but yes is the answer. Okay. And then it starts asking about your work. This is the bit that can be a little bit up in the air with furlough and COVID. But the questions are fairly self-explanatory, and there's usually a little blue line that you can click on if you are wanting to ask more questions. Okay, now a question that somebody asked me this afternoon, which surprised me, because I had to look up the answer. She hadn't been in employment for 10 years, but even still, she still needed to click the box employee. So whether you are unemployed at the moment, you then respond as though you were in. You answer your last job. I don't know why. I wish I did, because that one perplexes me. So if you're employed, it's all good. It's easy. So you'll just say you're employee, and you can name the company that you work for, and move on to the next question. The same if you are self-employed. Easy. But if you are unemployed, you apply to say for your last job. It will then ask you, what is your job title? These yellow boxes are all the kind that you can type in and it brings up suggestions. So whether you're a nurse, a cleaner, an office manager, a company CEO, you can type whatever you do and it will come up in that box. And then it will ask you to briefly describe what you do. You only have 2 lines. So it's not asking for your full CV. It is literally asking for a brief description. So the lady I was talking to this afternoon, she was a nurse. So we agreed that nursing should go into that box.
Okay.
Then it will ask for the main activity of your organisation. She was a nurse in the NHS, so health went into main activity. Do you supervise or oversee the work of others? So everybody will have a manager, but do you manage somebody else? Does somebody report to you? So again, that's a yes or no. Then it asks how many hours a week do you work? Again, C19, the delightful pandemic, has altered this quite a lot. So it is very specific and it asks for your current circumstances. And it does say paid and unpaid. And then it will ask you how you travel to work. Which again, I think this is going to skew things, but both people are working from home at the moment.
Yep.
So that's what it says. It says, describe your current circumstances. So we've got we're almost there. It now says, where do you mainly work? Again, current circumstances. Most people will be working from home, but there are the key workers and there are the people who need to be out and about in the field and doing their thing. And that will then take you to the penultimate question to just check that you've filled out all the details. You can see the green ticks of the bits you've answered, and then there'll be a bit if you haven't answered, which you can then sort of start and repeat the entire process again. And then on the last page, you must click the green box that says Submit Census. You'll see a row of completed for all the questions that you've answered. And then you click Submit Census. And it's been done, dusted, and no problems whatsoever. And that is the entire questionnaire.
Wow.
I know. I stopped sharing.
Okay.
So, are you really?
That's over 50 questions for just one form.
Yes. You only ask these every 10 years, though?
So somebody's just asked me a question here.
Okay.
What if they haven't received the form?
Okay.
What can they do?
Right. For now, sit tight.
Okay.
The last batch of letters is being posted out tomorrow. So I only received my letter today, and I'm a census employee. So the last batch is being posted out tomorrow. So if you haven't received the question, received it by Tuesday or Wednesday, either visit the website, which is census.gov.uk, or telephone 0800 141 2021. You will then be able to request a new digital code. If you do it through the website, it will ask you to input your mobile number, and you'll be texted almost by return. They say it takes 5 days, but it is literally almost by return. You will get a 16-digit code. But you can therefore request it either online or over the telephone.
Okay.
And if you do it online, you will get texted the answer.
Okay. So if you haven't received it, just for everyone, si jusqu'à présent, tu n'as pas reçu le formulaire à la maison, c'est pas un problème. Comme Sarah vient nous dire maintenant que d'ici la semaine prochaine, tout le monde va déjà recevoir comment dirais-je, l'application et puis le papier et tout. Donc, d'ici la semaine prochaine, tout le monde va déjà tout recevoir à la maison. Et puis, quand tu vas recevoir la lettre à la maison, si tu reçois la lettre à la maison, je ne sais pas si vous pouvez voir ici, il y a le code. Il y a le code ici. Et puis, ici aussi, il y a le reference number. Donc, si tu reçois à la maison, tu vas tout voir le code. Mais si tu n'as pas reçu encore, pour le moment, t'inquiète, comme elle vient de le dire maintenant, reste posé. D'ici la semaine prochaine, tu vas recevoir ton application à la maison. Et puis, c'est vraiment important, c'est vraiment, vraiment, vraiment très important de remplir et puis d'envoyer d'ici le 21. Le deadline, c'est dimanche 21 mars. Deadline is the 31st of March, yeah? So can you be before? It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be on the days. It can be before, but not after.
It can be done after as well.
Oh, so if it's done after, what's the cause?
Sorry, say that again.
So if it's done after, is they fine or not?
No.
So when does the fine?
You will have.
Sorry.
When does the fine kick in?
Yes.
You will probably have. Well, you will have three reminder letters. You'll have people knock on the door. So if you haven't done anything for about 3 months, that's when people start talking about fines.
Okay. So first stage is this.
Yes.
Second stage, people knocking on the door.
Yes.
So altogether is approximately, let's say we're in March now, if by July you still haven't filled in your form, that's when the fine kicks in.
Yes.
Perfect. Is there anything else we should know?
It is actually, okay, it's arduous, it's hard, it is boring, but it is the most essential piece of documentation you're ever going to fill out, because it will improve your children's education, it will look after your health, it will improve your transport systems. There is everything that relates, even the flipping supermarkets who decide what they're going to build.
Yeah.
Looking at census details. So everything that makes your life good, happy, and lovely relates to the census. So even though it's boring and they ask some very personal questions, just answer, please.
Coming to having to look at the forms from when you shared it online, I've realized that basically I've got a huge understanding of it now. So basically, let's give a typical example. If there is 1,000 people that lives in my area, which is Quinton, there is 1,000 people that lives on my road, but there is only one GP surgery. So by us filling in this form, so it might enable the NHS to create another GP surgery on my road?
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to get a better understanding. If there is 3,000 children and there is one school, it will give them more time to say, okay, we need to build another school, we need to open another school, because there is one school and there is so many children in one school. So come to think of it, it is for our own interest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You've nailed it.
I think that is actually it. I've got another question here. Is the it says census starting from the 1st of March until May 2021?
Mm-hmm. Are they the support centres?
Yeah.
I have a leaflet. Yes, there are support centres. If you have trouble filling out either the paper questionnaire or the online version, you can, if you've got access to the internet, there is a pull down thing that says census support centres, and you can type in your postcode and you can find the one that is most local to you, and you can talk to them and they can give you assistance on how to complete.
So basically, there is Census that's helping you on how to fill in the forms.
Yes. Up till yesterday, they were a little bit, are they opening? Are they not opening? But they are definitely opening now.
So when are they going to be open?
They are open already.
Okay.
Where are you based?
I'm based in Quinton.
There's ones in Birmingham. There's definitely two in Sandwell. So it's a case of type in your postcode into the Census website, where it asks about census support centres, and you will be able to find your most local one.
Okay, Sarah, you've actually covered everything. Thank you so much. You've actually covered it, and I think speaking to someone that knows about it properly has given me an entire understanding of the situation, because I was asking myself question, why do we have to do it? Why? What do they want to know? Someone sent me a message and said, oh, as soon as I fill this, I'm going to have all the debts that I've forgotten about is going to come back on my name.
Nope. So sincerely not.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I've had you here for over 50 minutes. Thank you so much for your help. And thank you for,
You're welcome.
Anything else we need more, I think Jacques is going to get in touch with you, or we'll get in touch with you to find out more. If we need more questions answered, we'll email you, we will call.
Absolutely.
I know you're there to support us through this.
Yep, absolutely. Wholeheartedly. You're more than welcome.
I will let you go now. But I'm going to carry on to explain to people in French on really how they can do it, what they can do. Once again, thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you so
You're
much,
welcome.
Sarah. All right, take care of yourself.
Thank you. All right.
All right, then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Alors, les amis, je vais juste vous expliquer si le census, vraiment, ça sert à quoi. Comme Sarah vient de m'expliquer maintenant, le census, c'est le recensement. Le recensement, c'est quelque chose que le gouvernement a besoin de savoir. Par exemple, ici, là où moi j'habite, à Quinton, il y a combien de Noirs, il y a combien de Asians, il y a combien de Blancs, il y a combien des enfants, il y a combien de... Il faut qu'on soit vraiment réalistique, OK? Il y a combien de PD, il y a combien de chrétiens, il y a combien de juifs, il y a combien de musulmans. Donc, ils ont juste besoin de savoir pour nous aider. S'il y a 5000 enfants et puis il n'y a que 2 écoles, c'est pratiquement impossible. Alors, les amis, je vous encourage vraiment, comme je viens de montrer maintenant, le forme Census, c'est déjà là. Si tu n'as pas encore reçu, le numéro pour appeler d'ici la semaine prochaine, si tu n'as rien reçu, le numéro pour appeler, c'est le 0800 141 20 21. Ou bien leur website, c'est www.census.gov.uk. Ça peut prendre aux environs de peut-être 10 minutes pour remplir. Il y a 50 questions. Et puis, je pense qu'il y a deux centres par-ci par-là, comme Sarah vient nous expliquer. Seul moyen de savoir si le centre c'est où, c'est juste que tu visites leur site internet et puis tu mets ton postcode. À partir de cela, tu vas savoir si là où tu habites, le Sport Center Census c'est où. Alors, le Census Formula, si tu n'as rien reçu de la semaine prochaine, n'hésitez pas à les contacter, n'hésitez pas d'appeler, n'hésitez pas d'aller sur le website pour savoir plus. Comme Sarah vient de dire, première étape, c'est le formulaire. Deuxième étape, le gens vont venir toquer à ta porte. Troisième étape, c'est le 1000 balles. Donc, il n'y a même pas là où courir, il n'y a même pas là où c'est caché. Première étape, c'est ça. Deuxième, knock on the door. Troisième, 1000 livres de fine. Alors, les amis, vraiment, je vous encourage. Dès que tu reçois ça, je sais qu'il n'y aura pas le nom. Je ne vais pas vous montrer parce qu'il y a mon adresse. Je sais que dès que vous recevez, il n'y aura pas votre nom. Souvent, ça va écrire the resident ou bien the householder. Ça va écrire the resident ou the occupant ou the householder. Donc, je vous encourage vraiment dès que tu reçois le formulaire, c'est mieux de remplir vite fait ou bien d'ici la semaine prochaine, si tu ne reçois pas le formulaire, d'appeler le 0800 141 20 21 ou bien le site internet www.census.gov.uk. Juste aussi pour vous montrer, pour vous dire par rapport à nos événements, par rapport à ce que nous sommes en train de faire ici, je vous donne juste notre programme. Excusez-moi 2 secondes. Notre programme, c'est mardi, jeudi de 13h à 14h. Il y a le fitness and dance avec Reza. Donc, pour bouger un peu, perdre le poids, pour sauter et perdre le poids. Mardi et jeudi, de 13h à 14h, fitness and dance avec Reza. Mercredi et vendredi, de 14h30 à 17h20, fitness avec Cathy. Jeudi à 17h avec moi-même, Bibiche Kiala, de Your Right to Know ou bien Get Out of Your Box. Vendredi, 20h, l'émission La Découverte avec Maggie Ndati. Alors, pour tout le monde qui a besoin d'utiliser notre studio, aujourd'hui, je suis à la maison parce que l'émission, ça allait se passer vers rendez-vous, vers Zoom. Alors, ce n'était pas important que je parte au studio, donc je suis à la maison. Pour tout le monde qui va utiliser notre studio, si tu vas utiliser notre studio, tu as un projet musical, tu as un projet, projet des émissions, tu veux faire une émission, tu veux commencer à prêcher, à faire tout ce que tu veux, nous sommes là pour vous. Notre numéro, c'est le 077 43 6 0 00 34. Bien évidemment, ou bien de chercher notre CEO, que le papa Jacques Matessi Kubanza sur Facebook ou bien par email. Notre email, c'est inquiries@afscs.org.uk. Alors, les amis, je dois vous quitter. Je dois vraiment vous laisser. S'il y a encore de questions, vous pouvez encore nous envoyer des questions. Nous sommes là pour vous répondre. Nous sommes là pour vous aider par rapport à le formulaire 106. Alors là, vraiment, je dois vous laisser. Je dois vous quitter. À la prochaine. Restez scotchés. N'oubliez pas de liker, de aimer notre page, de aller sur YouTube, de subscribe, de s'abonner sur notre chaîne YouTube AFCS UK FC TV. À la prochaine, les amis. Je vous aime bien. Bye bye.